I'm Anastasia Boden, and I'm here in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm about to meet with two-time Major League All-Star Jonathan Lucroy so we can figure out whether practicing law is all that different than baseball. Thank you so much for doing this, Jonathan. You're boosting my credibility with my son and my husband, probably everyone, so thank you so much. What you do is very high stakes. I like to think that what I do is pretty high stakes, suing the government, representing people in very meaningful cases where they have their whole livelihoods being threatened, and they could lose everything because of unconstitutional action. But I don't do that in front of 40,000 people. Many times I'm sure you go to stadiums where people do not want you to win and are actively rooting against you. Yeah. So I wonder how you sustain that type of pressure. What's that like, and what are some mental tactics that you use when you're up against that?
Pressure is perceived, and I look at it not as pressure, but like as a privilege. And you have to understand that being in the situation on the field where you have the opportunity to be booed or cheered is actually a privilege. And I think I had a therapist tell me a long time ago, your problem is you like to prove everybody wrong. And I was like, is that a problem? She's like, well, it can be, right? So I always enjoyed people being negative and booing me and all this stuff because I love to prove them wrong, right? Whenever I was in high school, no one thought I was good enough. I left the state of Florida because no school thought I was any good. And so that was always my fire, to go out there and just beat somebody and, win, no matter what anybody says.
Should have been an attorney.
I should have been. I should have been.
Less lucrative. Baseball, so I hear, is a very mental game, especially because, as you and I were discussing earlier, even the best in the league are striking out. A good average to have is only 3 out of 10. And so it's a game of failure. It's high stakes. You have to be really resilient. How do you teach kids that?
Baseball is a game where who fails the least wins. It's not, it's actually who fails the least, because you're going to fail. Like, you had 300 batting average for 10 years in the big leagues, you're going to be a Hall of Famer, one of the best ever. There's nothing else in life, literally nothing else in life, that you can do that and be successful, right? If you're a surgeon and you did 3 out of 10 surgeries where the patient survived, you would go to prison, right?
Yeah.
If you win 3 out of 10 cases as a lawyer, you might have some work to do, right? You're not the best lawyer in the world, right? But baseball, you're one of the best. And so it's very unique because it teaches young men how to be responsible to themselves and accountable to themselves on a daily basis. It teaches them how to flush failure, how to move on. At a certain point, whether it's football or whether it's golf, if you're a certain amount of strokes under, there's no chance you're going to win. At baseball, you could strike out 3 times and go up, and if your team's in it and you're tie ball, you hit a walk-off to win the game. Like, a little different.
And that's one of my favorite things about baseball and about sports generally, is how many skills you learn that really translate into other aspects of life. Like with resilience, that's just so important to living a healthy, happy life, particularly in a culture, I think, that in recent years has emphasized victimhood and sitting in victimhood and not being resilient. That has been held up in a way, and that's so detrimental. And that's one reason I think baseball is also so representative of America. It's meritocratic. It talks about resilience. There's an interplay between being an individual in the sport, playing your role, but also being on a team. And I wonder what you think about why baseball really plays this special role in American culture. It's Americana summed up. And why do you think that is?
Sports-wise, physical-wise, like, baseball was my deal. That's what I was the best at. For many, many people, though, they use baseball as an escapism, as a distraction. And I always looked at it like it's our obligation, our responsibility to do so in a responsible way. In a responsible way that represented the morals, character, values, beliefs of what their kids are watching. How you carry yourself, how you respect the other team, and how you handle adversarial situations, how you communicate with the umpires, how you talk to the other team, whatever, how you hustle, how you play hard. It's important to me as a baseball player that or the former guy, that we understand the responsibility of the millions of people that watch us play. And it's not just the adults. Like, we're a distraction to the adults, but what we are for the kids? We're a dream. So if we're having that responsibility of being a role model to that kid, even if it's on TV or whatever,
Yeah.
It's important that we act as such and that we behave as such.
I like it. It speaks to me, especially one of the things you said there, coming back to this idea of baseball being Americana summed up. You're talking about how for you, it was something that you were just super passionate about from the beginning, and it was one of your biggest talents, and how when you combine those two things together, you were able to make it in the big leagues. And that strikes me like that's the American dream, right? That you have the opportunity here, that if you have talent, hard work, and passion for something,
Yep.
yeah, you can at least try. There's no guarantee that you will succeed, but there is at least opportunity to
You
try.
have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what life is. It's about having a chance. I mean, as long as there's a chance, right? I know it's easy for me to say because I did it, but like, trust me, batting cages like this right here, I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in. I mean, I got my bat right here that I used the last year I played, and you can look at the wear on it, on the paint. That's from thousands and thousands of swings. It takes a lot of work. But like it takes a lot of work to reach the pinnacle of any profession. I mean, I'm not sitting here going like I'm the only, but any profession, if you want to be the best, the top 1% of the world at whatever you do, well, you got to act like it.
Yeah.
My dad used to call it separating yourself from others in a good way. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. How do you separate yourself from your teammates, from your peers, or whoever, your competition, in a good way? How do you do that? What do you do differently? And so it all comes down to work.
Yeah.
Working for it.
Yeah, that really speaks to me. Yeah, just because I think there's a sort of denigration of work in our society, and certainly even in constitutional law. Like if you go into court and you say that you're representing somebody based on free speech or some other constitutional right that's really celebrated in the courts at least, you get a lot of protection. But when you walk in saying, hey, I'm representing a business owner and they're trying to fight for their right to earn a living, courts do not care about that right. As much as in culture that work has sort of been denigrated, it's true in courts too. And that's why, that really speaks to me about, just like you said, in baseball as much as in the market, as much as in anything, we should celebrate work and what people have done to get there.
We should celebrate people that have made something from nothing and been successful and then are helping other people with it. I mean, why not? I think we should do that.
I work at a law firm that sues in many First Amendment cases, fighting for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of belief. And so, I have to ask you about your experience with that in the MLB. I can only imagine what it was like. I think the pendulum is swinging a bit now, but you had a kerfuffle having to do with not wanting to kneel during the national anthem or disrespect our country. And I wonder what it was like going through that, what that felt like, and how did you persevere?
So for context,
Yeah.
I played for Team USA twice in the World Baseball Classic. We won a gold medal in 2017. I've had my college roommate almost died in Afghanistan. He got shot 3 times. So patriotic guy, love America, love what it's about. So we go out, opening day in 2020, and I was told to kneel for the anthem, right? And so our team we had a meeting with ownership, came down, they said, ownership wants you to kneel for the anthem. And I'm like, there's children present, so I'm not going to say what I said, but I'm like, no, we're not doing that, right? And so we're not going to do that, or I'm not doing that. Like, I won't. If I'm the only one that's standing, then I am. I'll never, I have too many friends that fought. My buddy almost died. Like, I'm not going to have him read or see on TV me kneeling for the anthem. I'm not doing it. I won't. If you want to protest, that's fine, but this isn't the right way to protest. This is not it. You don't protest something by disrespecting a very large group of people, right? A very large group of people. You can hate the country if you want, that's your free choice, but you do not disrespect this group of people, right? And that's a bipartisan issue, by the way. Like, both Democrats and Republicans both agree, like they both support the military and veterans very much. Like, that's bipartisan. So that shouldn't be an issue. So, protesting something like that in that way is really just making it worse, whatever it is you're worried about or fighting about. But anyway, so that happened. One of my best friends was on the other team, on the other side. And so I called him, and we met behind home plate before the game, and I'm like, look, did they tell you the same thing? And he said, yeah, our ownership said the same thing. And I said, I'm not doing it. He goes, neither am I. So we didn't. It turned out only a couple guys did, but I figured that was going to happen, but I was prepared to be the only guy.
Did you suffer a lot of blowback online, or did you feel like...
No, honestly, no, because it was during COVID and there was nobody in the stands. So no one really noticed.
Yeah.
Right? No one was there. And, but it was a simple fact that we were told to do so by ownership. Mm. And I was like, no, like I will not, no. I had almost 10 years of big league service. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't live with myself the rest of my life. I'd be ashamed.
I think there's a lot of people who would have just done it to avoid, any sort of negative repercussions, whether social or from your employer. It's hard to stand up against that type of pressure. I sue the government for a living, and even though there are real problems, people are really suffering, but a lot of times they're too afraid to even bring a lawsuit because they're worried about the repercussions, even just socially with their friends or whatever. Even though these are nonpartisan things, they're just basic freedoms. People just want to run businesses and not harm anyone else. In fact, make the world better. But my point of bringing that up is, what do you think it is about you that made you willing to say, no, I'm not going to do that?
I think for me, if I feel to stand up for something, do it in the right way, not disrespectful or not do it in a negative way, but do it like, no, I'm not, this is what I believe in and I'm not going to compromise. People compromise because they're scared, and I'm just not going to be like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for people to get over fear. I always find it inspiring to try to use fear as motivation rather than something that...
You have to lean into fear. You have to, if you're scared to do something, you should do it anyway, because you lean into it. I mean, we'll do some blocking drills in a little while that the viewers will see and you'll see, but it can get scary because you don't want to get hit, but we're afraid of getting hit. So what we do when we're afraid to get hit, we'll jerk back and forth. It's the same thing when we get scared. Applying it back to the blocking part, like, you have to go get the ball. You have to go get it when you block. It's a very interesting way to think about that in life. I mean, you get hit, it hurts, but at least you're leaning into it and you're fighting. Fear can debilitate you if you don't properly focus it.
Absolutely. Turning to your kids, this might surprise you that I was not the most athletic person growing up.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, maybe I just was never tested. Maybe I'm going to turn out to be amazing. But now having kids, it's actually just my greatest joy watching them play sports. So I wonder if sports is that exciting for me to watch as a person who was not athletic growing up. What's it like watching your kids do sports?
I'm kind of the opposite of a lot of people. I don't, I'm not saying, I don't want to say everybody, but there are parents out there that try to live through their kid, right? Or they expect their kid to be the best. And, I'm like, they're 7, like, calm down, okay? And so I have a belief that I want my son to choose. I don't want to choose for him. I want him to choose for himself, or my daughter to choose for herself. And they both have chosen. They asked me to take them to hit. Hey, Dad, can we go to the cage? Dad, can we go to Uncle David's, which is here? Hey, Dad, can we go somewhere to the field, whatever? And so I want them to choose whatever sport they want to be in for themselves. Because if they choose it, then they're going to work for it themselves. And I'm not going to be, another quote by my college coach, he used to say, I'd rather hold back a bronco than kick a donkey. And so that's what I want. I want to hold back a bronco. I don't want to have to kick a donkey.
Yeah.
And if you're always on your kid about this, and this, you're going to develop a donkey.
Yeah.
Because he's going to get tired of it.
Another life lesson I think that holds true over life, that people do best if they're able to choose their own destiny.
That's right.
And I saw that you had tweeted recently a story about, I think it was Torrey Hunter, who you said came up every time that he was at bat, and he would say, let's see what happens.
Every time.
Yeah. It's kind of stoic, right? Like, let's welcome the experience. Let's see what happens. Let's be positive. Let's be optimistic.
Life is about, when you get punched in the face, standing back up.
Yeah.
Right. It's cliche, but it's 100% true. And baseball's that game that's reflective of it.
Yeah.
Because it's failure to the extreme.
It's only failure if you stop, not failure if you keep going.
Well, I mean, it's only failure if you don't learn.
Right.
If you don't learn from a mistake, then you truly have failed.
Yeah.
If you've learned from a mistake,
you've gotten something.
Then you've actually won, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's truly so stoic, like ancient Greek wisdom. But it's interesting because then I also think, I've heard you say, and I feel this way about law, that also when you go out there, you should consider it war almost, like go into it like it's a battle, and, don't be on the kind of defense or with fear, but more like this is a battle. So what do you think the balance is between like this is war, but also I am stoic and I am open to whatever the experience brings?
Have you ever seen Bandit Brothers?
Yes.
The show Bandit Brothers? Yeah. There's an episode where they're in Bastogne, where they had that German town of Bastogne surrounded. And there were Germans in the town, but they had dug foxholes all around. And there was a lieutenant, he was called Lieutenant Spears, and he was kind of crazy. And they had lost contact with a unit on the other side of the town. They couldn't get a hold of him on the radio, so they're like, we got to get a hold of him. Spears is like, I got it. He actually runs through the middle of the town, makes contact, and then he runs back through the town, right? Doesn't get shot, gets back, they make contact or whatever, and there was this private that asked him, how'd you do that? How'd you even, like, what made you do that? Like, what? He goes, well, I needed to do it. Like, we needed to make contact. And he goes, I've already accepted I'm already dead. No matter what I do, it's not going to stop. God's already picked a day of my life that he's going to end it and move it on. So why should I even worry about that? We're already dead, man. Like, we're all going to die. So why not go out and attack, and be intentionally aggressive, be aggressive with intent, and whatever it is you're doing, like go out and hunt. That's what I like to call it, hunting. I try to hunt.
Yeah.
I always thought about, I'm hunting this guy. Like if he throws a ball right there, I'm gonna crush it. If this guy steals, I'm gonna throw him out,
Yeah.
And I wasn't a showboat guy. I was just out to compete, and I competed with an intent to win. But if I lost, It's part of the game. And you only lose if you don't learn.
My colleague and I constantly have this debate. We're hiring, whatever. We have to talk about candidates and what's more valuable, just pure skill or an attitude of hustle, of, assertiveness and wanting to do. And I think, that quality can be far more powerful and desirable than pure skill.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That is, yes, there's a certain level of skill and talent that's necessary to complete a task.
Yeah.
Whether it's hitting a baseball or deposing somebody or whatever. But if I'm building a team of players, I'd rather have a team full of guys that are team guys that might have half the talent as this guy over here, but they're all team guys that work together because all those little half talents all add up to this, whereas that guy's just this. Mm-hmm. And he's by himself. I've played with multiple guys that are like that. Multiple.
Yeah.
That were very individualistic and superstar type guys. Not all of them, but there's some out there. And I've been on some teams where we had some talent. We had to have some kind of talent to be there, but we put our collective talent together better because guys were more lockstep with each other, and it was about the team. It wasn't about the individual.
Maybe this answers my next question then. Would it be better or worse if we had AI rather than umps?
I like the human aspect of the umpire. Like I said, I'm a baseball purist. Like I like having umpires back their calls and ball strikes.
Yeah.
I like the argument back and forth. Like that's part. Like this is a problem when you introduce all these like the robo stuff and the AI stuff. The game is going to become very boring.
Yeah.
So all it's going to become is a casino gambling thing. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Fans are going to be like, this sucks. Like I want to see the umpire blow a call and then the manager come and get thrown out.
Yeah.
Like they want to see the drama. Drama is exciting.
Yeah.
That's why people watch all these like reality TV shows because there's drama. They like to watch drama.
Sports documentaries.
Yeah. Drama. And so if you take the drama out of the game, they don't let players get run over anymore. They don't let people take guys out of second or like sliding. Like they don't let them do that. The game is becoming data-driven, robotic game where there's no drama. And drama doesn't sell.
Right. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this. It's been so fun, and it's a pleasure and refreshing to talk with somebody who is very willing to speak their own mind and stay true to their true selves and opinions. So thanks very much, and I look forward to playing some ball.
That sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right, I'm here with Jonathan Lucroy, my son Julian. We're gonna move into the skills test portion of the day. We are going to be blocking pass balls. Tell us what we're doing here.
Well, we're blocking ball pitches, and it's primarily going to be an off-speed pitch in the dirt, but I'm going to do a little shorter today for them so they understand the concept. We're not going to do it hard, don't want to hurt anybody. But in spring training, we always have a competition amongst the catchers to see who can drop as many wild pitches, balls in the dirt, right on top of the plate. And so if the plate's in front of me, the ball's on dirt, we want to block it, and it goes straight down and sit on the plate. Yeah. That's how you do it. We created a competition out of that to see who the best blocker is in training. So I wanted to try it today with, Anastasia and her son, and we're gonna have some fun with it.
All right, you heard him. Let's play ball.
Ready? Uh-huh. There you go. You came forward. You see I kicked it? Yeah, it's here, 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 here.
Roll it like that.
There you go.
All right.
It's a good feeling for it. Ready? Uh-huh. There you go. Oh! I'm gonna count that though. I think we should count that. That's pretty good. I actually like that better because it's straight down.
There you go. See?
Perfect.
Even better than making the target.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, put your hand straight behind your glove to protect it, okay? Right down. There you go.
Oh,
look at that.
Close.
Good job, dude. Hand behind your glove, ready? There you go, close. Now don't turn your head, keep your head straight. Isn't it nice having pads on?
No.
There you go.
Oh!
Hey! Woo! You got it. All right, we tied.